I didn't come up in the tech world. You know, you have been involved in very advanced and scientific development and those kinds of things. But even in the 90s, you know, I'm pretty sure I probably had a file somewhere that was called passwords.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that was back then. However, everybody gets frustrated about passwords. Everybody gets disappointed about passwords. Everybody struggles with passwords and not reusing passwords. The thing about passwords is passwords, yes, may be difficult to manage if you don't have a process. They're there for a purpose. It's like what you described about your ledger. And we can talk about how ledger isn't a perfect place because people can encourage you to install your ledger, connect it through the little USB or whatever, however, which model you have,
Yeah.
and open up the computer because they have posed as ledger. This is manipulation of another case where you've got to unlock the ledger and you still do transactions. So this is support maliciousness in phishing. It's not even phishing because it is an attack, because phishing just wants you to give up the seed words. This is a direct attack against the wallet. So we have two things. You don't let people have access to your computer, period.
Yeah.
You don't let people have access to your seed words unless I have standards we talked about on concierge calls. You have a seed word, you need to store it so it's stored permanently. I will never tell you what kind of process to do it. Some people store seed words on metal rings, on bolts, and bury them in the ground and do all sorts of goofy stuff. You'll see it on X, and you'll see it on Facebook. You'll see it on these different places that people brag about these steel plates that they stamped it in, and then they put it in a box and they buried it in something. You know, whatever. If you're going to do that, fine. Just make sure it's permanent and make sure you then store it securely. And the storing it securely, that's the second point. Do you have a need to where if something happened to you, somebody would have to know where that was or know those words? Now, if you're married and you have a spouse and you have kids, maybe that's true. You have to make that decision. It's individual. So first is permanent. Second is secure it. You don't give that up to your vendor. You don't give that up to anyone else other than somebody you absolutely trust, because you know the second they have those seed words, they can spend that money. There's nothing you could do to stop them. The third thing about seed words is you need to have access. We've known people, we've totally changed the subject because we were talking about being maliciously attacked or just making mistakes in allowing people to have access. And that's something that's an education point. Now we're talking about how to store seed words. But if you store seed words and you have 24 words and you send 2 off to all of your family members, and you don't have a copy of those seed words, but you're so freaked out that you're going to lose seed words, so you give each person a piece of paper that has 1 word on it, all it takes is for something to happen to one of those people or 2 of those people, and now you've lost your seed words. It doesn't mean you make it so complicated. It doesn't mean you need to make it so difficult that you lose it anyway because you were overly bothered with all of these things. If you don't come up with a plan, just like your passwords, if you don't come up with a way to store and generate passwords securely, you are putting yourself at risk. So there's 2 extremes: totally lackadaisical, door wide open, passwords in an Excel document. Then the other extreme is, I have all of my seed words, but I don't know them. I gave them off all of my family members, but one of them has had a fire in their house, and now I've lost 2 of the words. So it's extremes on both ends. It's about being informed. If you don't have the knowledge, the simple basic knowledge, if you're not informed, you put yourself at risk. Just do the basics.